Part 5. Immortal world is back, I am invincible. Author, listen to the wind with your L. Chapter 41. Lin Zixuan was so angry that her chest heaved violently. The fullness under the dress is ready to come out. Suyu was just teasing Dean Lin casually. During the first 1,000 years of his cultivation in the immortal world, he often made the saintesses of the great saints hunt him down because of his bad words. In the end, without exception, these proud women all became his confidant. Sometimes liking someone starts with hating and hating them. Later, Suyu discovered that his bad mouth did not drive away those arrogant women, but instead attracted more and more beauties around him. He gradually got rid of his bad mouth. Now this feeling has been gone for a long time. Suyu spoke to Lin Zixuan in a solemn voice, "Dean Lin, I won't joke with you anymore. If this continues, you might really fall in love with me." After the sound transmission is completed, he deliberately raised his voice, "Dean Lin, thank you for your willingness to help me. Say it." He walked back to Tang Yuxin. Wang Menglu and Tang Yuxin only heard this last word of thanks. The conversation between Suyu and Lin Zixuan just now was too low, and with their qi condensation realm cultivation levels, they couldn't hear it clearly. Wang Menglu said with a smile, "Suyu, this is right. We must have a grateful heart." Lin Zixuan was so angry that she almost went crazy. What did Suyu say to her in the voice transmission just now? This scoundrel is simply impudent. Will I fall in love with him? Is this bastard dreaming? Lin Zixuan said angrily in her heart. From the moment she was born, she was a proud girl in the eyes of others. There were countless people pursuing her, but she had never fallen in love with anyone. Even if it was an engagement arranged for her by her family, she was not moved at all. To delay the engagement, she went into hiding for 5 years. Her engagement partner was definitely a monster-like genius in the Xia kingdom, and would drive countless girls crazy. Lin Zixuan gradually put aside the messy thoughts in her mind. Ever since I met this deceitful man, something has become wrong with me, and I can easily lose control of my emotions. What's wrong with me? Lin Zixuan forced herself to calm down, muttering in her heart. After about 10 minutes, Suyu and the others followed Lin Zixuan into a villa area. Lin Zixuan stopped at the door of villa number 1. After unlocking with fingerprint, the door slowly opened. The front yard is very large, at least more than 500 square meters. Lin Zixuan doesn't like people living in her home, so there are no servants in her villa. But she would have someone come to clean the villa every now and then. There is a spirit gathering array arranged in the center of the courtyard, which can gather part of the surrounding aura of heaven and earth in a small area. Lin Zixuan casually said that this was the 1-star spirit gathering array she had arranged. On today's earth, the levels of array masters and alchemists are the same, ranging from 1 star to 9 stars from low to high. Above the 9 stars is a legendary existence. However, array mages are rarer than alchemists. Wang Menglu was shocked and said, "Dean Lin, are you a 1-star formation mage? Originally, I thought there were no formation masters in Linzhou. I didn't expect the formation masters to be around us. In the entire Linzhou, there is probably only one formation mage named Lin Zixuan. This shows that there are very few formation mages. It is more difficult to improve the array master than the alchemist. So far, very few array master inheritances have been discovered on Earth. This makes it difficult for the formation master to climb." Tang Yuxin said with admiration, "Dean Lin, you are so amazing." Lin Zixuan glanced at Suyu pretending to be unintentional. She wanted to see the shock on the face of this degenerate. As a result, Suyu raised his head and looked at the stars. Lin Zixuan was really about to be furious. It wasn't that Suyu wanted to make Lin Zixuan angry on purpose. In fact, the 1-star spirit gathering array arranged by Lin Zixuan seemed crude in his eyes, like a child playing house. Of course he couldn't show any interest. When he was in Immortal World, he was hailed as the #1 genius since ancient times by several big figures in the formation wizard world. Before returning to Earth, Suyu's formation attainments have long since reached their peak. Lin Zixuan no longer looked at Suyu, she was afraid that she would be angry and vomit blood. Just when she led Suyu and others into the villa hall. Linzhou High-Speed Railway Station. Su Quan, the head of the Su family branch, was waiting respectfully at the exit. His eldest son Su Yuan is about to accompany Mr. Meng to Linzhou, so naturally he cannot be rude. In Earth's immortal cultivation world, monks can fly with swords when they reach the sea transformation realm. Once you reach the sky control realm, you can walk in the sky without the help of external objects. However, flying with a sword and walking in the air will consume spiritual energy. Many monks still choose to take the high-speed rail or plane when traveling. Linzhou is not far from Tianhai. It only takes 40 minutes to take the high-speed train from Tianhai to Linzhou. Not long after, Su Quan saw an old man wearing a grey robe walking out, and his eldest son Su Yuan accompanied the old man respectfully. "Dad, this is Mr. Meng." Su Yuan introduced. This was the first time Su Quan met Mr. Meng. He said respectfully, "Mr. Meng, I'm sorry to trouble you this time." Mr. Meng said coldly, "I'm just doing something for the young master. You are responsible for contacting Su Yu and asking him to come to your home tomorrow." The young master ordered him to kneel in front of Su Cheng's coffin and kowtow 10,000 times. "I must do what the young master has ordered me to do. Young master Su Yu won't be able to do anything." Su Quan hated Su Yu deeply. He nodded and said, "Mr. Meng, don't worry, I will definitely contact Su Yu. Please come here, I have arranged a place for you." The pain of losing his son made him feel sad all the time. Su Cheng is his favorite youngest son. Mr. Meng followed and got into a luxurious business car. Not far from the exit, a black Mercedes-Benz was parked steadily. Yang Hai and Yang Xian sat in the back seat of the Ben. The Yinbu Linzhou branch needs to always pay attention to those strong people who enter Linzhou. This time, Mr. Meng took the high-speed train to Linzhou, which naturally attracted the attention of the Umbu. After leaving the snack street in frustration, as soon as Yang Xian took care of the injuries on his hands, Yang Hai received a call from his subordinates. "I learned that Mr. Meng from the Tianhai Su family was arriving in Linzhou." The father and son came to the high-speed rail station to check on the situation. Su Cheng was killed by Su Yu in public. Now Su Quan is here to welcome Mr. Meng, and his eldest son happens to be with Mr. Meng. Needless to say, Mr. Meng must have come for Su Yu. "Dad, according to the data, this old man's cultivation is in the middle stage of the sky control realm. He will not be Lin Zixuan's opponent. I really can't figure out why a cold beauty like Lin Zixuan wants to protect Su Yu. Otherwise, Su Yu will definitely die this time." Yang Xian looked regretful. Yang Hai sneered, "Can Lin Zixuan stay by Su Yu's side forever? She can't protect Su Yu for a lifetime. I will find a way to send Lin Zixuan away. I want to see how long that bastard can stay arrogant." When Yang Xian heard this, his face was full of expectations. Immortal World is back, I am invincible. Author, listen to the wind with your L. Chapter 42. The cool night breeze blew across the earth. Dark clouds obscured the moon. It looks like things are going to change. Lin Zixuan's villa is brightly lit. Tang Yuxin knew that Su Yu had not eaten enough at the snack street. After getting Lin Zixuan's consent, she used the few ingredients left in the refrigerator to cook 5 dishes herself. Lin Zixuan has no talent for cooking. With her level of cultivation, no one would die even if she didn't eat or drink for several months. When she's hungry, she mostly orders takeout. Wang Menglu usually focused on studying alchemy. She knew nothing about cooking, so she hired a special ant to cook. A man and 3 women gathered around a round table to eat. Suyu ate with relish. With his level of cultivation, even if he didn't eat or drink for tens of thousands of years, his body would not change at all. He simply missed Tang Yuxin's cooking skills. For 2,000 years, he tasted this familiar taste again. Suyu, no one is robbing you, why are you eating like a starving ghost reincarnated? Wang Mengele couldn't help but said. Suyu ignored this girl. No one could understand how he felt now. What he eats now is not food, but the youth he once had. He was only 19 years old when he transmigrated from Earth to the immortal world. 2,000 years may be just a blink of an eye for the apex-level monks in immortal world. But for most people, 2,000 years is an extremely long time. Lin Zixuan's movements when picking up vegetables were very elegant, forming a sharp contrast between her and Suyu. Tang Yuxin was afraid that Suyu would choke. Suyu, eat slowly. If you like it, I will cook it for you every day from now on. Suyu reached out and touched Tang Yuxin's head. Yuxin, you are still virtuous. Tang Yuxin blushed and lowered her head. Lin Zixuan and Wang Mengele glared at Suyu. Are these words mocking the two of them for being unvirtuous? Mengele, Yuxin, after dinner, come to my room. Tell me the problems you encounter in cultivation. Lin Zixuan put down her chopsticks and said. Wang Mengele's face was overjoyed. The dean gave him personal guidance. This kind of opportunity was really rare. She hurriedly said, thank you, Dean Lin. Tang Yuxin raised her head, with a look of expectation on her face. She wanted to catch up with Suyu and keep going with Suyu in the future. Now that she could get Dean Lin's guidance, she was naturally very happy. Dean Lin, thank you, we have caused you trouble tonight. While Lin Zixuan said it was okay, her beautiful eyes looked at Suyu. As long as Suyu is willing to bow his head. She reluctantly gave Suyu some advice. Wang Mengele kicked Suyu under the table. Wang Mengele, are you having epilepsy? What are you doing with your feet kicking around under the table? Suyu said angrily. He naturally guessed what this girl meant. But does he need Lin Zixuan's guidance? In turn, he pointed out that Lin Zixuan was pretty much the same. Dean Lin, why are you looking at me? Am I handsome? Suyu teased. Lin Zixuan was so angry that she bit her lip. Mengele, Uxian, follow me to the room and leave the bowl for Suyu to wash. Suyu said calmly, Yuxin, you stay. I want to teach you a skill. Lin Zixuan frowned. Suyu, the technique that suits you may not suit Uxian. Don't be ridiculous. If a monk practices a technique that is not suitable for him, he is very likely to go crazy. Wang Mengele nodded in agreement and said, Suyu, don't mess around. Dean Lin is right. Kung Fu is not something you can practice casually. Currently, Uxian is practicing the rank 3 technique. I spent a lot of energy to help Uxian find this technique that suits her. Seeing Suyu's calm expression, Wang Mengele continued unconvinced. The skills are divided from rank 1 to rank 9 from low to high. The skills above rank 9 only exist in legends. So far, the highest level technique that has appeared publicly in Xia is rank 7. Ordinary monks can already burn incense and worship Buddha if they can obtain a rank 1 skill that suits them. Do you know how expensive the techniques above rank 3 are? And if they are suitable for Uxian, it is even more difficult. Suyu looked indifferent. Yuxin, are you willing to practice the skills I prepared for you? Tang Yuxin did not hesitate. She nodded and said, I do. As long as it was given by Suyu, no matter it was good or bad, she would accept it. Dean Lin, please give Mengele some advice first. I want to practice the skills Suyu prepared for me. Tang Yuxin said respectfully. When Lin Zixuan saw this, what else could she say? This girl is too infatuated with Suyu. Mengele, follow me upstairs. Lin Zixuan said. She could only wait until afterwards to check on Tang Yuxin's body. Once a problem is discovered, only she can help Suyu wipe his butt. I really owe him my last life. This arrogant bastard. Lin Zixuan muttered in her heart. Suyu saw Lin Zixuan and Wang Mengele going upstairs. He and Tang Yuxin walked to the front yard. After letting Tang Yuxin sit down, Suyu said, "Yuxin, the technique I prepared for you is called Xianling Ju. I will now inject spiritual energy into your meridians. You follow my spiritual energy and I will guide you." Tang Yuxin did not ask what level this technique was. She fully believed in Suyu. Suyu pointed his finger on Tang Yuxin's eyebrows, and the gentle spiritual energy came out from his fingertips and entered Tang Yuxin's body. The immortal spirit art is very difficult to practice. But with Suyu's guidance, Tang Yuxin's cultivation was very simple. It was as if Suyu had chewed up the rice and fed it into Tang Yuxin's mouth. Time passes minute by minute. 2 hours later, Suyu withdrew his fingers, and he could feel that Tang Yuxin could already operate the immortal spirit art on her own. "Yuxin, hold your breath and concentrate. Enter the cultivation state and feel the power of the immortal spirit art," Suyu reminded. At this time, Lin Zixuan and Wang Mengele were standing at the second-floor window. They were worried about Tang Yuxin. Seeing that Suyu had finished teaching, they were ready to help Tang Yuxin. She was afraid that this technique would not suit Tang Yuxin, causing her to become possessed on the spot. Who knows the next second? The spiritual energy between heaven and earth gathered towards Tang Yuxin like crazy. Generally, this situation only occurs when there is a breakthrough. But Lin Zixuan is certain that Tang Yuxin has no tendency to break through. Could it be that the skills taught by Suyu attracted so much spiritual energy at once? As the time goes, the noise is getting louder and louder. After the spiritual energy tornadoes condensed, they wreaked havoc in the front yard. Soon, the terrifying spiritual energy tornado transformed into huge spiritual energy phoenixes, rushing into Tang Yuxin's body. In the shocked eyes of Lin Zixuan and Wang Mengele, with the help of the immortal spirit art, Tang Yuxin easily absorbed the spiritual energy phoenixes. The purpose of cultivating monks' circulation skills is to induce the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to flow into the body, and to improve their cultivation by absorbing spiritual energy. The basic function of the technique is to induce spiritual energy and then help the monks absorb the spiritual energy. The higher the level of the skill, the stronger the basic effect. Lin Zixuan practices the rank 6 technique. She has seen monks practice with the rank 7 technique. I couldn't activate such terrifying spiritual energy tornadoes before me. And with the help of the skills taught by Suyu, the huge spiritual phoenixes that rushed into Tang Yuxin's body were all absorbed by Tang Yuxin. This absorption rate reaches an incredible 100%. What kind of skill did Suyu teach Tang Yuxin? Even the rank 9 technique wouldn't be so terrifying. Could it be said that this skill surpasses rank 9? What a treasure this is. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Immortal World is back, I am invincible. Author, listen to the wind with your L. Chapter 43. When Lin Zixuan fell into panic, Tang Yuxin broke through. The momentum in her body rose again and again, breaking through the bottleneck that hindered her. With great momentum, he broke through from the 6th level of Qi condensation realm to the 7th level of Qi condensation realm. She was already on the verge of a breakthrough, but she just missed the chance. Now that she has the assistance of the immortal spirit art, her breakthrough is naturally a matter of course. The air in the front yard of the villa was turbulent. Tang Yuxin stopped running the immortal spirit art, and she suddenly opened her eyes, with a look of shock that never faded from her face. Did the rank 3 technique she practiced before induce the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to be 1% of that of the immortal spirit art? Maybe not even 1%. Moreover, Every time she uses the rank 3 technique to gather the spiritual energy of heaven and earth into her body, she cannot absorb 100% of the incoming spiritual energy, and a large part will be lost. Now the immortal spirit art has induced such a huge amount of spiritual energy to enter her body. With the help of the immortal spirit art, her body has absorbed all of this spiritual energy. What level of skill is this immortal spirit art? Yuxin, how do you feel? Suyu looked doting on his face. No matter how long he spent in immortal world, Tang Yuxin was always the sunshine in his memories, always warming him. Without waiting for Tang Yuxin to answer, Lin Zixuan stepped down from the second floor and landed steadily in front of Suyu. Although Wang Menglu is only at the 8th level of the Qi condensation realm, this height will not trouble her. Leap. She jumped down from the second floor, grabbed Suyu's arm carelessly, and asked, Suyu, what level has the skill you practiced for little Xingxin reached? After Tang Yuxin stopped practicing, the terrifying noise in the front yard had long since dissipated. Lin Zixuan stared at Suyu with complicated eyes. Does this skill surpass rank 9? I have never seen other people practice rank 7 techniques with such terrifying effects before. There are descriptions of rank 8 and rank 9 exercises in some unearthed ancient books. The kind of skill you came up with is incomparable to both the rank 8 skill and the rank 9 skill. I'm sure this is a technique that only exists in legends. Suyu said casually, you can think so. When Lin Zixuan saw Suyu admitting, she pursed her lips tightly and her eyes became more complicated. Suyu actually gave Tang Yuxin a legendary level skill that surpassed rank 9. This simply made Tang Yuxin love her to the core. On today's earth, if someone masters a technique that surpasses rank 9, they may not even teach it to their children and wives. The value of legendary level skills is unimaginable. It can even be said that a legendary level skill is enough to make a family as rich as a country. After Wang Menglu heard the conversation between Lin Zixuan and Suyu, she swallowed hard twice. Suyu, I really belong to you. The legendary level skills are given away as soon as they are given, and they are just right for Xiao Xingxin. You are worthy of Xiao Xingxin always thinking about you. Wang Menglu took a deep breath, calmed her emotions, and continued, before, you asked Xiao Xingxin to take over half of the shares in Su Hu's name, which was 3 billion. This can be regarded as a disguised gift from you to Xiao Xingxin, but compared with this legendary level skill law manifestation, half of the shares in Su Hu's name are really nothing. She held Tang Yuxin's arm. Xiao Xingxin, I'm starting to envy you. You have such a good eye. Suyu looked indifferent to Wang Menglu's praise. Immortal spirit art is the treasure of the immortal world Immortal clan. Back then, Suyu had a feud with the Immortal clan and was hunted by the Immortal clan for 500 years. After his rise, he bloodbathed the Immortal clan and stole the Immortal clan's treasure, the Immortal spirit art. This technique can suit any physique. The speed of cultivation is extremely terrifying. The immortal spirit art is one of the supreme techniques even in the immortal world. Tang Yuxin was moved indescribably. She pursed her lips and said, Suyu, the immortal spirit art is too precious. You shouldn't teach it to me, this is a legendary level skill. Suyu touched Tang Yuxin's head and said with a smile, as long as you like it. He also has a variety of techniques that are comparable to the immortal spirit art. It's just that these exercises require body integration. Only the immortal spirit art is the most suitable for Tang Yuxin to practice. Tang Yuxin wanted to say some words of thanks. The index and middle fingers of Suyu's right hand were pressed together, blocking Tang Yuxin's moist lips. There is no need to say thank you between you and me. Tang Yuxin's cheeks were slightly red. The last layer of window paper between her and Suyu has never been broken. To put it bluntly, the relationship between her and Suyu has not yet been determined. She was secretly anxious about why Suyu didn't confess to her yet. This dog food is so sweet that I'm going to get diabetes. While Wang Menglu was happy for her best friend, She felt depressed. Why couldn't she meet a good man like Suyu? Menglu, what nonsense are you talking about? Tan Yuxin puffed her mouth and said. Wang Menglu said quickly, Yuxin, please don't feed me dog food. I'm full now. Lin Zixuan's beautiful eyes were fixed on Suyu, and she could not calm down. Suyu, do you know how attractive a legendary level skill is? I can tell you for sure that even the old monster who is practicing in seclusion will come out and kill you to the death after learning about the legendary level technique. If Menglu and I have bad intentions, do you think you and Uxin can get out of here alive? I just say this to remind you that you must be on guard against others. Wang Menglu looked nervous at first. She was afraid that Lin Zixuan would do something to them. After hearing the end, she breathed a sigh of relief and said, Dean Lin, this means that Suyu believes in us. He affirmed our character. To be honest, I'm really touched. Even if he sent out legendary level techniques, he didn't hide it from us. This kind of trust is so valuable. How can we live up to his trust? Lin Zixuan nodded slightly. Her impression of Suyu greatly changed. Remember, don't be so naive again. The world is dark and there are many greedy people. Suyu almost couldn't help laughing. These two women misunderstood him. With his level of cultivation, does he need to be careful? If Lin Zixuan and Wang Menglu really acted out of greed, Suyu would casually send them to the King of Hell's palace. Of course, he would never say these words again. Sometimes, misunderstandings are good. Seeing Lin Zixuan and Wang Menglu moved his trust, he felt very good. Smart women can also be stupid. Obviously, Lin Zixuan and Wang Menglu are not stupid women. Suyu, have you taken Dean Lin's words to heart? I didn't expect you to be such a naive person. Don't be stupid again. Wang Menglu reminded. Suyu smiled casually. If he had been innocent, he would have died long ago in the immortal world, a place that eats people without spitting out their bones. Immortal world is back, I am invincible. Author, listen to the wind with your L. Chapter 44. Lin Zixuan and Wang Menglu did not ask Suyu how he obtained the immortal spirit secret. This is Suyu's secret. It is not convenient for them to inquire, which is what makes smart women so endearing. Yuxin, tonight you should familiarize yourself with the immortal spirit art. The further you practice, the more you will realize the beauty of the immortal spirit art. Suyu has the ability to make Tan Yuxin improve her cultivation level very quickly. But the way to become an immortal is to fight against heaven, which is something that goes against heaven. Using special means to make Tan Yuxin's cultivation skyrocket in a short period of time will only ruin her future. Tan Yuxin continued to sit cross-legged on the lawn and practice. Suyu walked to the pavilion not far away and sat on a stone chair. Lin Zixuan and Wang Menglu walked back to the hall. Menglu, not even your parents can reveal anything about legendary level skills. If this matter is leaked, Suyu and Uxin will die. Not everyone in this world can suppress their inner greed. Lin Zixuan warned again. Wang Menglu nodded and said, Dean Lin, don't worry. Xiao Xingxin is my best friend, and I will never put her in danger. After Lin Zixuan went to the study room, she came out with a notepad in her hand. This is my experience and insights in the qi condensation environment. You can use it for reference. It may not be useful to you. Wang Menglu excitedly took the notepad. Thank you very much, Dean Lin. After thanking you, she sat on the couch and studied. Lin Zixuan received a document about Suyu on her phone. This is what she asked people to investigate. She leaned against the door of the hall, glanced at Suyu in the pavilion, and opened the document on her phone. Suyu was detected to have immortal bones as soon as he was born. When he was 5 years old, his immortal bones were extracted by his uncle's family and transplanted into the body of Su Wu, the eldest son of the Su family in Tianhai today. In the next 10 years, my uncle's family would draw Suyu's blood at regular intervals to nourish the immortal bones in Suyu's body. Several times Suyu almost bled to death. When he was 19 years old, Suyu awakened the infinite purple eyes and was hunted down by his uncle's family overnight. After they dug out Suyu's infinite purple pupils, they presented them to Qin Tians, the eldest son of the Qin family in the imperial capital. Lin Zixuan has an extraordinary background. Her people can naturally investigate Suyu's affairs clearly. Lin Zixuan read along. During those 19 years, all the little things that happened to Suyu were investigated. Suyu was simply living in purgatory. After holding back her anger and reading the document, Lin Zixuan took a deep breath. The investigation about Suyu in this document went back to 2 years ago. The past 2 years since Suyu disappeared have been a blank. Lin Zixuan's people couldn't investigate at all. It seems that Suyu really got some kind of incredible opportunity in the 2 years since he disappeared. Lin Zixuan thought to herself. The anger in her body showed no signs of dissipating. If Suyu's immortal bones and infinite purple pupils had not been taken away, his name would have been famous all over the world. Whether it's immortal bones or infinite purple eyes, they are all extremely powerful training plug-ins. Suyu's brother-in-law's family is so inhumane. Lin Zixuan didn't know why she was so angry. It was obvious that she and Suyu had only known each other not long ago. Ding dong, ding dong. The sound of the doorbell interrupted Lin Zixuan's thoughts. She walked toward the front door. After pressing the switch, the door opened slowly and automatically. I saw a tall woman in professional attire standing outside the door. Although her appearance cannot be compared with Lin Zixuan, but she can definitely be considered a beauty. Who are you? Lin Zixuan frowned slightly. She is not in a good mood now. Are you Dean Lin? Let me introduce myself. My name is Song Suiao. I come from the Song family in the imperial capital. I'm here to send an invitation letter to Suyu. As far as I know, he should be in your villa. This person is Song Ruian's cousin. The Song family's auction house is very famous, and the Song family is planning to open a branch in Linzhou recently. Song Suiao is the person in charge. Back then, before Song Ruian regained her appearance, Song Suiao was the most beautiful young person in the Song family. It was she who first met Qin Tians. As a result, after Song Ruian regained her appearance, Qin Tians and Song Ruian came together. In order to board the Qin family's ship, the Song family asked Song Suiao to be Qin Tian's secret woman. Song Ruian's consent was obtained for this matter. In this way, with Qin Tians having 2 women from the Song family by his side, the future development of the Song family will be smoother. 6 months later, Qin Tians and Song Ruian's engagement ceremony. Qin Tians wants to invite Suyu to witness. Thinking that Song Suiao was in Linzhou, he called Song Suiao and asked her to come over. With the capabilities of the Song family and Qin family, it is very easy to find someone in Linzhou. Suyu walked out of the pavilion and came to the gate. Suyu, long time no see. I met you when you and Ruian were engaged. Song Suiao flicked her right hand, and the invitation flew towards Suyu. There was a strong wind in the air. This invitation flying at high speed is enough to cut through a hard stone. Don't wait for Suyu to take action. Lin Zixuan took the invitation. She opened it and saw anger flowing in her eyes. The woman Song Ruian was also mentioned in the information about Suyu. Back then, Suyu didn't think she was ugly and cared for her in every possible way. After risking her own life, she tried the medicine many times. Suyu finally developed a prescription to remove the weird birthmark on Song Ruian's face. As a result, after Song Ruian recovered, she cut off contact with Suyu. It's really a wolf's heart and a dog's lungs. Qin Tians was the one who stole Suyu's eyes. Song Ruian was the one who betrayed Suyu. Now that these 2 people are getting engaged together, they actually have the nerve to send invitations to Suyu. They have ulterior motives. Tang Yuxin and Wang Menglu were also attracted. When they saw the content on the invitation letter in Lin Zixuan's hand, the two of them stared at Song Suiao coldly. Suyu, will you be there on time in 6 months? After all, you and Ruian used to have a good relationship. And there is some kind of connection between you and Tian's. Don't you agree? Song Suiao ignored Tang Yuxin and the others' gazes. Suyu took the invitation letter from Lin Zixuan. After reading the contents, a sneer appeared on the corner of his mouth. 6 months later, when Qin Tian's and Song Ruian reached the peak of their lives, he kicked them into hell. That's what makes it interesting. Killing someone is not the best way to take revenge. Let them experience the pain of falling from heaven to hell, and then let them die. This is so satisfying. I will be there on time for this engagement party. I just hope they don't regret it then. Suyu said calmly. Song Suiao snorted coldly. Suyu, are you threatening Tian's? Do you think you have such qualifications? By the way, Tian's asked me to say something to you. He said he was very satisfied with the eyes now, and he asked me to thank you. Immortal world is back, I am invincible. Author, listen to the wind with your L. Chapter 45. Tang Yuxin, regardless of it, burst out with the momentum of the 7th level of Qi condensation realm. She stepped forward and shouted, "Shut up." Right now, she doesn't care what Song Suiao's cultivation level is. She didn't want to see Suyu recall the painful past. Song Suiao's words were like adding salt to Suyu's wounds. When she learned that Qin Tian's had infinite purple pupils, she guessed that Suyu's eyes were transplanted into Qin Tian's eyes. She told Wang Menglu about this alone. The purpose is to prevent Wang Menglu from mentioning Qin Tian's and Song Ruian in the future. Song Suiao sneered, "How dare a waste from the 7th level of Qi condensation realm tell me to shut up?" Her face was gloomy, and the aura of the middle stage of Qi transformation realm rushed out of her body. Suyu, I heard about you. You now not only have the cultivation level of innate realm, but you have also stepped onto the 7th floor of the 7-color Immortal Tower. You are now a so-called immortal. But so what? What rubbish immortal talent? This is just an unfounded speculation by the Dean of the Immortal Martial Academy in the Imperial Capital. Who knows if it is true? Do you regret helping my cousin remove the birthmark on her face? Song Suiao was full of hatred for Suyu. If Suyu hadn't treated Song Ruian well back then, she must be the one engaged to Qin Tian's now. Suyu said coldly, "Now that the invitation has been sent, you can get out." Song Suiao had no intention of leaving. If you hadn't treated Song Ruian well back then, you might have married her and had children by now. I remember that you and I fell in love for a while, and you regarded each other as someone who could rely on each other. Not long after, she will be engaged to another man. Do you feel uncomfortable? Tang Yuxin and Wang Menglu's faces were full of disgust. There was a hint of impatience in Suyu's eyebrows, when he wanted to take action. There was a pop sound. A crisp sound echoed in the air. Lin Zixuan slapped her coldly. A clear slap mark appeared on the left half of Song Suiao's cheek, and the burning pain made her stunned for several seconds. Dean Lin, do you know what you are doing? I am from the Song family in the Imperial Capital, and you dare to hit me. Song Suiao clenched her hands into fists. After feeling Lin Zixuan's air-controlling aura, she did not dare to act rashly. Lin Zixuan said coldly, "If you dare to talk nonsense again, I will take your head." Suyu glanced at Lin Zixuan, who was angry. Is this woman a relative? Why are you more angry than him? He really began to doubt whether Lin Zixuan was interested in him. Song Suiao gritted her teeth tightly. If she just turned around and left like this, she wouldn't be able to swallow this breath. She took out her mobile phone and had a video call with Qin Tian's. When Qin Tian's face appeared on the phone screen, Song Suiao immediately said, "Tian's, Dean Lin of Linzhou Immortal Martial Academy not only slapped me, she also said she would take away my head. She is standing up for this loser Suyu. I'm so scared now. There was no trace of fear on her face. After moving out of Qin's house, she was sure that Lin Zixuan would not dare to do anything again, let alone kill her here. Song Suiao pointed the phone screen at Lin Zixuan. Qin Tians had met Lin Zixuan before, and he knew that she had an extraordinary background. But Song Suiao was his woman, and he would not allow his woman to be humiliated outside, especially because of Suyu. Dean Lin, I kindly ask Suiao to send the invitation letter to Suyu, but you slapped her. Is this your behavior? I have learned a lot today. Qin Tian snorted coldly. Suyu stared at Qin Tian's purple eyes on the phone screen. These were his eyes. Past events came to mind again. He once again recalled the pain of having his eyes gouged out. Lin Zixuan's beautiful eyes flashed coldly. She ignored Qin Tian's and looked at Song Suiao with murderous eyes. I remember what I just said, if you keep talking nonsense, I will take your head. It seems that you turned a deaf ear to what I said. Today next year will be your death anniversary. Say it. She pointed her right index finger at Song Suiao and said, here comes the sword. The next moment, a roaring sound sounded from inside the villa. A silver-white sword cut through the night sky and soared into the sky from the villa. Then he flew towards Song Suiao. The speed was extremely fast. The terrifying sword energy lingers on the sword body. After Song Suiao sensed the terror contained in this sword, she was instantly frightened, and fear finally appeared on her face. Lin Zixuan really dared to kill her. After being locked by this sword, Song Suiao felt that her whole body was drained of strength, and she couldn't move even if she wanted to. At the moment of life and death, she could only shout desperately, Tians, tell her to stop. Qin Tians said angrily, Dean Lin, you. Don't wait for him to finish speaking. A swish sound sounded. The sword light bloomed on Song Suiao's throat. This sword separated her head and neck. Snap. Her head rolled to the ground. Warm blood spurted out from her neck like a fountain. Song Suiao's headless body was stiff, with her right arm raised and holding her cell phone. Shuiyao, are you okay? Qin Tians asked. Since the camera was pointed at Lin Zixuan, he couldn't see Song Suiao's condition. No one responded. Qin Tian's face was so gloomy that he almost shed tears. Lin Zixuan, what did you do to Suiao? Lin Zixuan reached out with her right hand, and the sword returned to her hand. The blood stained on the sword slid towards the tip. Drops of blood fell from the tip of the sword to the ground. I just gave her a ride. I, Lin Zixuan, always keep my word. You can tell the Song family in the imperial capital. It was me, Lin Zixuan, who killed Song Suiao. They can come to me for revenge at any time. Lin Zixuan said calmly. The purple light in Qin Tian's eyes became thicker. Lin Zixuan, you are so protective of this loser Suyu. It seems that you two have a good relationship. Don't forget, you have a jealous fiancé. The reason why he has let you go out for so many years is because he knows that you look down on other men. What action do you think he would take if he knew you were so protective of this trash? Lin Zixuan frowned. What do you want to express? There is only a marriage contract between me and him. Other than that, I have no relationship with him. Qin Tian sneered, Lin Zixuan, don't deceive yourself. Your background means that you cannot make your own decision about marriage. I'm sure you'll regret what you did today. He glanced at Suyu and continued, trash, if you can survive until 6 months later, I welcome you to attend my engagement banquet with Ruian. But it seems that your chances of surviving for more than 6 months are very slim. You. Qin Tian's voice stopped suddenly. Lin Zixuan waved her sword. The sword light flashed past. The mobile phone in the headless corpse's hand was chopped into two. Alarmist. Lin Zixuan said coldly. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Immortal world is back, I am invincible. Author, listen to the wind with your L. Chapter 46. Imperial Capital. In a luxurious villa. Qin Tians, who was sitting on the sofa in the living room, saw that the video call was interrupted. He shouted angrily, Lin Zixuan, this bitch. Bang. There was a muffled sound. The cell phone was crushed by Qin Tians. There was smoke coming out of his right hand, he let go of his palm, and the whole phone turned into powder and floated towards the ground. Tians, calm down. Song Ruian, wearing home clothes, sat on the sofa opposite Qin Tians. She just heard what Lin Zixuan said. My cousin was really killed by Lin Zixuan. Song Ruian frowned slightly. Qin Tians nodded and said, this woman Lin Zixuan is a madman. Everyone who offended her in the past will not end well. A woman who dares to touch her biological father with the tip of a sword, what else do you think she would be afraid of? After Song Ruian entered the upper-class circle of the imperial capital. She had also heard about Lin Zixuan many times from others. Compared with Lin Zixuan, her beauty is nothing, even her talent is far behind Lin Zixuan. That is a woman of extraordinary beauty. She once regarded Lin Zixuan as her target, and one day she also wanted to be talked about like Lin Zixuan. Now after learning that Lin Zixuan directly killed Song Suiao for Suyu, she felt very uncomfortable inside. Suyu is a waste. A waste that she abandoned. What qualifications do you have to win Lin Zixuan's favor? Is Lin Zixuan blind? Tians, what are your plans next? Song Ruian bit her lip and asked. She was not sad at all about the death of her cousin Song Suiao. When her face was covered with ugly birthmarks, Song Suiao and other younger generations of the Song family laughed at her. If a woman like this dies, she dies. Before, she agreed to let Song Suiao become Qin Tian's secret woman. It was purely to win Qin Tian's favor. Ruian, even a woman like Lin Zixuan took action to protect Suyu. Do you regret your decision now? Qin Tian's eyes were dazzling with purple light. The infinite purple eyes have the ability to see into people's hearts. If Song Ruian lied, he would see through it immediately. Song Ruian said firmly, I don't regret it. Suyu, a loser, will never be able to catch up with me in his lifetime. My man will only be you, Qin Tians. Suyu's so-called immortal talent is just a joke. Qin Tian's mood improved a lot. He used his infinite purple pupils to tell that Song Ruian was not lying. Ruian, find a way to reveal Lin Zixuan's protection of Suyu to the ears of Lin Zixuan's fiancé. Remember, do this naturally. Qin Tian's ordered. After Song Ruian nodded, she walked aside and made a phone call to ask someone to handle the matter as soon as possible. Qin Tian's tapped the coffee table with the 5 fingers of his right hand, his eyes were cold. Suyu, you bedbug is really an eyesore. If you want to blame it, it's your fault that you shouldn't show up again. Isn't it better to spend the rest of your life hiding in the deep mountains and forests? If you insist on coming out to seek death, you will bring it upon yourself. What a pity. You are destined not to witness my engagement with Ruian. He muttered to himself. At the same time, Linzhou. In Lin Zixuan's villa, Tang Yuxin and Wang Menglu were sitting on the sofa. Lin Zixuan had someone dispose of the body outside the front yard. Suddenly it started to rain lightly in the night sky. Suyu flicked Tang Yuxin's forehead. What are you thinking about? Tang Yuxin pursed her lips. Suyu, don't think too much about the past. I will always be by your side from now on. I will never betray you. Regarding Song Suiao's death, neither she nor Wang Menglu paid it any attention. Lin Zixuan had already given Song Suiao a chance to live. This woman is simply looking for death. Wang Menglu said, Suyu, If Songruyan knows that you gave Uxin a legendary level skill, she will definitely regret it and kneel down to beg you for forgiveness. If she had not left you, you would have taught her the legendary level skills. Lin Zixuan came down from upstairs, her face looked a little strange. Su Yu knew at a glance that Lin Zixuan's charming body was gradually affecting her. From the age of 18, she would feel hot all over her body at certain times in the night. It's 10:30 now, and by 11 o'clock, this symptom will completely break out. Yuxin, Menglu, you two will sleep in the same room tonight. I'll take you there. Lin Zixuan glanced at Su Yu again. Your room is the first one on the east side of the second floor. After Tang Yuxin said good night to Su Yu, she and Wang Menglu followed Lin Zixuan. In front of Dean Lin, she had to restrain her feelings for Su Yu, otherwise she would be laughed at by Dean Lin. She had no idea that Lin Zixuan was in agony. See the three women leaving. Su Yu came to the first room on the east side of the second floor. This is a suite. There is a bathroom inside. Su Yu took a bath and lay on the bed to rest. The sound of a door opening caught his attention. He sat up from the bed and saw Lin Zixuan, wearing lace pajamas, walking in and closing the door. The woman's face was reddish, her legs were tightly clamped, and there was an uncomfortable feeling on her face. It is now 11:15. In the past, when symptoms occurred, Lin Zixuan would lock herself in her room and endure it for a while. When she was trying to hold back in the room today, Su Yu's figure kept popping up in her mind. Especially thinking that Su Yu was in the villa, she came to Su Yu's room by accident. Su Yu, apart from the method you mentioned, is there really no other way to help me relieve my pain? Lin Zixuan asked reluctantly after approaching. When Su Yu saw this, he secretly said bad. A person with a fairy body will smell a man's scent when symptoms occur. This is like pouring barrels of gasoline into a raging fire, and the results can be imagined. The owner of the fairy body will lose himself. When this idea came to his mind, Lin Zixuan couldn't bear it anymore. Her mind was so dizzy that she completely forgot where she was. With her right hand, she pulled open the lace pajamas. Pajamas slipped off. What caught Su Yu's eyes was Snow White. Lin Zixuan acted purely on instinct, and she pounced on Su Yu. Only men who have practiced water-based skills can exercise with the owners of the fairy body. Can resolve this symptom. There is no other way to do this. A burst of elegant fragrance entered Su Yu's nose. Lin Zixuan, who had taken off her pajamas, hugged Su Yu tightly like an octopus. Do you want me to be a beast? Or do you want me to be worse than a beast? Su Yu muttered. He is a normal man. In addition, Lin Zixuan is really charming, and she is so proactive. He can't hold it anymore. Immortal world is back, I am invincible. Author, listen to the wind with your L. Chapter 47. Su Yu was breathing heavily, and the blood in his body was gushing. Lin Zixuan has completely lost her rationality now. At this time. Dong dong. There was a knock on the door. Su Yu, are you asleep? There was Tang Yuxin's voice outside the door. Su Yu wanted to find an excuse to send Tang Yuxin away. If Tang Yuxin saw the scene now, he would not be able to escape even if he jumped into the Yellow River. Just didn't wait for Su Yu to answer. Tang Yuxin said again, I'm in. The sound of the door lock being turned reached Su Yu's ears. He didn't think too much. After lying back on the bed, he covered himself with a quilt. The quilt also blocked Lin Zixuan. Dean Lin, please calm down. Su Yu whispered. The words just fell. Tang Yuxin walked in. She was wearing a light blue pajamas. Her figure was very good, and the fullness of her chest swayed slightly as she moved. After she took a shower, she didn't put on a bra. Tang Yuxin's long hair was draped over her shoulders. After approaching, she sat on the bed. I knew you wouldn't go to bed so early. Su Yu was about to speak. He only felt that Lin Zixuan was getting more and more restless under the quilt. Su Yu's legs were arched, and he was supporting the quilt to bulge, making it difficult for Tang Yuxin to detect abnormalities under the quilt. "Yuxin, it's so late, do you have anything to do with me?" Su Yu mentally told himself to calm down. Tang Yuxin pouted, "Su Yu, must I have something to do before I can come to you? Can't I just come and chat with you?" She moved closer to Su Yu. A youthful fragrance immediately rushed into Su Yu's nose. The two were very close to each other. The tips of their noses are almost touching. Under the quilt was Lin Zixuan's restlessness. Outside, Tang Yuxin approached again. The fire in Su Yu's body grew stronger and stronger. At the same time, he had a strange feeling, as if he was having an affair. Su Yu couldn't help but want to kiss Tang Yuxin. This girl was just a little greener than Lin Zixuan. She will definitely not be worse than Lin Zixuan in the future. Tang Yuxin saw that Su Yu was about to kiss her, so she leaned back and said, "I won't kiss you." "Su Yu, what is the relationship between us now?" She stared at Su Yu with burning eyes. When she and Wang Menglu were chatting in the room just now, she mentioned that Su Yu had not formally confessed to her yet. Wang Menglu urged her to come to Su Yu's room to find out. Tang Yuxin indeed has an irreplaceable position in Su Yu's heart. But in the 2000 years of Immortal world, he has had relationships with many women. When he returns to the Immortal world in the future, there is no way he will leave those women behind. He didn't know if Tang Yuxin could accept this. When he comes back this time, he wants to make Tang Yuxin happy, and he wants to help Tang Yuxin change her life against the odds. "Yuxin, I..." Without waiting for Su Yu to finish speaking, Tang Yuxin took the initiative to kiss Su Yu this time, and she blocked Su Yu's mouth with her lips. At the same time, under the quilt, Lin Zixuan became even more exaggerated. Su Yu is now in pain and happiness. Tang Yuxin closed her eyes, and she tried her best to cater to Su Yu. Su Yu's breathing became more and more rapid through his nose. Tang Yuxin felt Su Yu's hot breath in her nose, and the saliva in her mouth was about to be squeezed dry by Su Yu. Not long after, she bit Su Yu's tongue in shock. Just because Su Yu's palm reached into her pajamas. Tang Yuxin stood up from the bed, her cheeks were like ripe red apples, she lowered her head and bit her lips tightly. "Su Yu, you don't have to answer my question too quickly. I'll give you time to think it over. Good night." "Say it." Tang Yuxin ran out of the room like a frightened little rabbit. Wang Menglu, who was eavesdropping outside, didn't expect that Tang Yuxin would suddenly run out. The two collided. Just as Wang Menglu was about to cry out in pain, Tang Yuxin covered her mouth. The two walked some distance to the side. Tang Yuxin then removed her palm and said with a blushing face, "Menglu, how could you eavesdrop?" Wang Menglu said righteously, "As a best friend, I am not worried about you, I am afraid that you will be eaten up by Su Yu." "What is the situation now? Has Su Yu confessed to you? I just heard a squeaking sound. Did you guys kiss? Xiao Xingxin, please tell me." She looked very gossipy. Tang Yuxin's cheeks became even redder, especially when she thought of the scene where Su Yu reached into her pajamas just now. She covered her face. Thinking about it now, she seemed to feel that there were still hands groping around in her pajamas. After Wang Menglu saw Tang Yuxin's change, she looked suspicious. "Did Su Yu do something more extreme to you? You must have been tricked by Su Yu, right? Su Yu's time is too short. Is there something wrong with his body?" Tang Yuxin couldn't laugh or cry. "Menglu, what nonsense are you talking about? How could there be something wrong with Su Yu? He is in good health. I took the initiative to kiss Su Yu." She recounted what had just happened. As for Su Yu putting his hand into her pajamas, she omitted it. Wang Menglu hated that iron could not become steel. "Xiao Xingxin, look at what you can do. Su Yu was about to give you the answer, but you ran away from the battle. I'm sure Suyu definitely likes you, otherwise would he be willing to give you legendary level skills? Did you just abandon Suyu and run out of the room? Then, with a very understanding look, she shook her head and said, Xiao Xingxin, you only care about lighting the fire, not putting it out. Suyu will have a sleepless night tonight. Tang Yuxin naturally understood the meaning of Wang Menglu's words. Menglu, why do you know so much? Could it be that you? Wang Menglu interrupted, Xiao Xingxin, who do you think I am? Ordinary men can't get into my eyes. As the saying goes, if you haven't eaten pork, you haven't seen a pig running away. That's the only thing that happens between men and women. She spoke louder and louder. Tang Yuxin hurriedly reminded, Menglu, please keep your voice down. This is Dean Lin's home. It would be bad if it disturbs Dean Lin. Wang Menglu calmed down and listened for a moment, and then she breathed a sigh of relief when she found that there was no movement in the direction of Dean Lin's room. She almost forgot that she was at Lin Zixuan's house just now. Xiao Xingxin, come with me. Let's go and eavesdrop. It's not necessarily that Suyu will do bad things on his own. Wang Menglu suggested. These two women would never have imagined where Lin Zixuan was now. After Tang Yuxin escaped from the room just now, Suyu waited for more than a minute, making sure that Tang Yuxin would not walk in again. He lifted the quilt directly. Looking at Lin Zixuan's delicate appearance, if Suyu can still control it, he is really not a man. Lin Zixuan, you asked for this. Suyu's body was about to be burned by flames. He didn't hesitate any longer. Immortal world is back, I am invincible. Author, listen to the wind with your L. Chapter 48. Squeak, squeak. The sound of the bed shaking echoed in the air. It's raining heavily outside. Raindrops pattered on the window. Wang Menglu and Tang Yuxin, who were eavesdropping outside the room, had blushes on their faces. Originally, Tang Yuxin didn't want to stay, but Wang Menglu held her back. Yuxin, did you hear that? Suyu himself is doing bad things. He must be watching a short movie. I heard a woman's voice. Wang Menglu said firmly. Tang Yuxin bit her lips harder and harder, let's go quickly, don't eavesdrop here, Suyu will be unhappy if he finds out. She forced Wang Menglu to leave. Wang Menglu was still satisfied after hearing this. Xiao Xingxin, next time, you must remember to help Suyu put out the fire. If he knew that we heard the sound of his own solution, do you think he would be embarrassed to see us again? The woman had a smile on her face. Tang Yuxin's face was filled with nervousness. Menglu, please don't say anything about us eavesdropping outside the room, otherwise Suyu will be embarrassed. A man is heard by two women addressing their needs. This is a shameful thing. They would never have thought that Dean Lin was serving Suyu in the room. Wang Menglu smiled and said, okay, I'm joking with you. I'll let Suyu go this time. After the two women returned to the room, the movement in Suyu's room did not stop. With his cultivation, he could naturally sense the movement outside, but the arrow had to be fired, so he couldn't care so much. If you are misunderstood, just misunderstand. The night passed quickly. The rain stopped outside. The morning sun gradually rises from the east. Lin Zixuan was sleeping soundly in Suyu's arms. She turned over, trying to find a more comfortable sleeping position. At this time, she realized something was wrong, touched her side with her hands, and opened her eyes suddenly. After seeing Suyu so close to him, her eyes widened and she wanted to kick Suyu out of bed. Dean Lin, what's wrong? You haven't even put on your pants yet, are you going to turn your back on me and deny me? Suyu opened his eyes with a playful look on his face. Lin Zixuan wrapped her body tightly in a quilt, and gradually recalled the madness last night in her mind. She took the initiative from the beginning. Her delicate and pretty face is full of complexity. How so? She unexpectedly handed herself over to Suyu, a deceitful disciple. Before this, she would never have thought that Suyu would be the first man in her life. The room seemed extremely quiet. Suyu sat up and leaned his back on the bed. Don't you notice the changes in yourself? When Lin Zixuan heard this, she just wanted to scold Suyu for being shameless. As a result, before the words could be cursed out of her mouth, she gasped in disbelief. In just one night, her cultivation soared from the late stage of the sky control realm to the great perfection of the sky control realm. How can this be? She made continuous breakthroughs, crossing the peak of the sky control realm, and incredibly entering the great perfection. Change to normal practice. With her qualifications, it might take 6 years to reach the perfection of the sky control realm. The difficulty of practicing in the sky control realm is very terrifying. When Suyu was exercising last night, water-based exercises were running in his body. Completely helped Lin Zixuan cure the flaws in her fairy body. From now on, she will no longer lie awake at night. Lin Zixuan thought of what Suyu said before. After her immortal body is combined with the male monk who practices water-based skills, her cultivation speed will be rapid. This is really 1,000 miles in a day. The breakthrough speed is too fast. Okay, I am the one who is being taken advantage of. This is your first time to do exercise, so your fairy body will have such a great effect. Anyway, your symptoms will not appear again in the future. Suyu explained. His cultivation was against the sky, and after combining with Lin Zixuan, his power changed Lin Zixuan's qualifications. In the future, Lin Zixuan will be able to reach a higher peak. Lin Zixuan cannot sense these at the moment. You bastard, you actually said that I took advantage of you. You deserve to die. Lin Zixuan threw a pillow on Suyu. Just when she was about to get angry, Tang Yuxin knocked on the door. Suyu, are you awake? I've cooked breakfast. Lin Zixuan's breakthrough last night was very special and did not cause much commotion. Therefore, Tang Yuxin and Wang Menglu did not notice anything unusual. Lin Zixuan didn't want Tang Yuxin to know that she threw herself into Suyu's arms last night. After quickly putting on her pajamas, she stepped out of the window and returned to her room. Suyu smelled the lingering fragrance in the room and said, Yuxin, I'm awake. I'm not dressed yet, please wait for me. Tang Yuxin, who was about to open the door and walk in, stopped and said, I'm downstairs. Low grade you. A few minutes later, Suyu walked downstairs. Tang Yuxin and Wang Menglu were sitting at the dining table. Not long after, Lin Zixuan, wearing a light blue dress and light makeup on her face, also walked down. Tang Yuxin and Wang Menglu were attracted by Lin Zixuan. Dean Lin, you have become more beautiful and more feminine than yesterday. If I were a man I would be fascinated by you. Wang Menglu praised. Lin Zixuan felt guilty for a while. Menglu, don't talk nonsense. Tang Yuxin said, Dean Lin, Menglu is not talking nonsense. You are really more beautiful than yesterday. Lin Zixuan felt a little sorry for Tang Yuxin. From a certain perspective, she was the one who intervened. Suyu looked magnanimous. He has always been a courageous person. Since Lin Zixuan became his woman by chance, he had the obligation to take good care of her. We must find an opportunity to confess this matter to Tang Yuxin. Dean Lin, you were tired from last night. Eat an egg to replenish your energy. After Suyu sat down, he peeled an egg for Lin Zixuan. Tang Yuxin and Wang Menglu felt that Suyu had finally enlightened and would flatter Dean Lin. Lin Zixuan frowned slightly, thinking that Suyu was teasing her. This reminded her of the crazy scene last night. Young disciple, just wait for me. Lin Zixuan sent a secret message to Suyu. Suyu said openly and honestly, Dean Lin, if you have anything to say, just tell me. Why are you threatening me with a voice transmission? I mean, you were too tired from staying up late and working for the academy last night. I saw a light in your room in the early hours of the morning. Tang Yuxin and Wang Menglu looked at Lin Zixuan with puzzled faces. Su Yu smiled slightly and took a sip of milk. Lin Zixuan really wanted to bite Su Yu to death and compete with the students in her college for men. If this matter spreads, she will become a laughing stock in Xia's upper-class circles. Just when she didn't know how to change the subject, the cell phone on his body suddenly rang. After answering the phone, the expression on her face became more and more solemn. After a while, she ended the call. We have some clues about the space cracks that are about to appear in Linzhou. I want to go back to the academy right away. Tang Yuxin and Wang Menglu immediately expressed their intention to return to the academy with Lin Zixuan. Su Yu said calmly, I will rest here today and not go anywhere. When I come back this time, in addition to repaying kindness, I want to take revenge. He should also go and wipe out his enemies in Linzhou. His target today is the Su family branch in Linzhou. Tang Yuxin and Wang Menglu felt that Su Yu would not be in danger if he stayed at Lin Zixuan's house, so they did not force Su Yu to follow them. Before leaving, Lin Zixuan once again sent a message to Su Yu, You disciple, if you encounter trouble, call me immediately. She quietly placed a business card on the table. Su Yu looked at the three figures leaving and said to himself, what a duplicitous woman. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Immortal world is back, I am invincible. Author, listen to the wind with your L. Chapter 49. Lin Zixuan and the others had just stepped out of the villa. Su Yu stood up and walked out. When passing by the front yard, he saw the one-star spirit gathering array arranged by Lin Zixuan. He really couldn't stand it. Really crude. He changed it casually. Don't wait for him to activate the changed formation. Ding dong, ding dong. There was a rapid ringing of the doorbell. Someone kept ringing the doorbell. Su Yu walked towards the door and pressed the switch. The door slowly opened. Su Yu, do you think you can be safe and sound by hiding in Lin Zixuan's house? If you dare to kill my brother in public, you are destined to have a bad end. Come with me now. The visitor was Su Yuan, the eldest son of the head of a branch of the Su family. The moment he saw Su Yu, endless anger surged on his face, and his eyes revealed terrifying murderous intent. Standing next to Su Yuan was a middle-aged man with a cold face. He is Su Yao, Su Yuan's uncle. He has been practicing outside. This time he came back to attend the funeral of his nephew Su Cheng. Seeing that Su Yu was unmoved, Su Yao snorted coldly, and a strong aura from the middle stage of the sea transformation realm suddenly emerged from his body. I heard about you and Su Cheng. You killed Su Cheng on the stage of life and death. Although you took advantage of it, Su Cheng is my nephew. It's useless even if you took advantage of it. You have to pay the price for it. Do you want me to do it? Or do you want to go alone? Su Yao said indifferently. According to the information he and Su Yuan received, Su Yu's current cultivation level is in the innate realm. He didn't take Su Yu seriously at all. Lin Zixuan just walked away. Su Yuan and Su Yao rang the doorbell. It seemed that someone deliberately took Lin Zixuan away. This is to lure the tiger away from the mountain. A slight smile appeared on Su Yu's lips. He was about to go to a branch of the Su family to settle the accounts of the year. Unexpectedly, the people from the Su family's side couldn't wait and walked to the door themselves. His cold eyes were fixed on Su Yuan. When he lived in the Su family branch. One New Year's Eve, Su Yuan's pursuit of the goddess in his heart was rejected in public, and he vented all his anger on Su Yu. In the ice and snow, he punched Su Yu one after another. At that time, Su Yu was helpless. In the end, the scarred Su Yu was knocked unconscious by Su Yuan. Su Yuan left him in the kennel next to the Su family and slept with a vicious dog. The next day when Su Yu woke up after almost freezing to death, Su Yuan ordered the vicious dog to bite Su Yu, which made the younger generation of the Su family laugh. The past events of that year flashed in my mind. It seems like just yesterday. Su Yu took a deep breath. Even after 2,000 years, the humiliation he had suffered on earth could still not be forgotten. This is a knot that he can't untie in his heart. Su Yuan slapped Su Yu impatiently. You bastard, are you deaf? Are you too scared to see us that you can't even speak? I want you to wake up. The slap was so sharp that a whistling sound filled the air. In Su Yuan's sneer, Su Yu reached out with his left hand and easily grabbed Su Yuan's right wrist. Originally, for an ant like Su Yuan, Su Yu could cause his body to explode and die with just a glare. But revenge must be quick, and only by punching to the flesh can the humiliation suffered back then be released. Su Yuan only felt that his right hand was restricted by a terrifying force. Even if he tried his best, his right hand could not move forward at all, let alone break away from Su Yu's left hand. The peak of innate's momentum burst out vividly in him. The terrifying power on his right foot gathered and kicked towards Su Yu quickly. The stone tiles on the floor are cracked. Su Yu also kicked out. Sound. After the 2 feet collided with each other, Su Yuan's entire right leg turned into blood mist in the air. Ah! A painful scream came from Su Yuan's throat, and his face was filled with disbelief. Su Yu's strength far exceeded his imagination. This series of actions takes place in just a few seconds. When Su Yu reacted, it was already a step too late. He roared angrily, "You bastard, you are looking for death." The burning murderous intention came out of his body, when he wanted to destroy Su Yu at all costs. Su Yu just looked at him indifferently. His whole body stiffened, his brain was plunged into endless stinging pain, and his body could no longer move at all, as if he had been hit by the immobilization technique. Su Yu's strong aura quickly dissipated, beads of sweat the size of peas appeared on his face, and a look of fear appeared in his eyes. What exactly is going on? Why could Su Yu's body become unable to move with just a look? Now it was as if tens of thousands of silver needles were being stabbed into his brain, and the extreme pain caused his facial muscles to twitch. In the past, Su Yu and Su Yao didn't have much contact. But based on Su Yao's words just now, he is destined to die today. Su Yu exerted force with his left hand. Click, click, click. The sound of fine bones breaking was heard. Su Yuan's right wrist was crushed, and Su Yu kicked him in the stomach. Now I want to hear, how do you want me to wake up? Su Yuan was kicked several meters away, a large cloud of blood mist burst out from his stomach, and he screamed repeatedly in his throat. Uncle, do it quickly. You're going to destroy this bastard. Su Yuan hasn't noticed anything unusual about Su Yao yet. Seeing that Su Yao was indifferent, he shouted again, Uncle, what's wrong with you? Su Yu patted Su Yao's shoulder and asked, are you going to do something to me? Su Yao didn't even have the strength to speak now. After seeing this scene, Su Yuan finally realized something was wrong with Su Yao. Could it be that his uncle was controlled by Su Yu? How can this be? His uncle was in the middle stage of Sea transformation realm. How did Su Yu, a person with innate realm cultivation, manage to control his uncle quietly? Unless Su Yu's cultivation is more than innate realm. Think of this. Su Yuan was so frightened that his whole body trembled. Seeing Su Yu walking towards him step by step, he pretended to be calm and said, Zhajui, I advise you not to act recklessly. This time Mr. Meng came to Linzhou with me. Even if you have the perfect cultivation level of the Sea transformation realm, you cannot be Mr. Meng's opponent. Su Yu naturally still remembers Mr. Meng. The old dog who provided his brother-in-law's family with bone extraction methods. Su Cheng is your biological brother. The two brothers should be buried neatly together. Say it. Su Yu grabbed Su Yuan and threw his body upward. When falling, Su Yu punched out one punch after another. He controlled his strength, otherwise Su Yuan's body wouldn't be able to withstand even his punch. Didn't you get a good punch back then? I'll pay you back today. Su Yu's expression was cold. Bang, bang, bang. Muffled sounds echoed in the air. Flesh and blood kept spattering from Su Yuan's body. Hoarse screams echoed in the air around him. Su Yu, I know I was wrong. Please spare my life. I beg you. In endless pain, Su Yuan desperately begged for mercy. Su Yu just pretended not to hear. It wasn't until he punched dozens of times to vent the anger in his heart. He just really used a little strength. Su Yuan, who was originally covered in blood and flesh, was directly exploded by Su Yu's last punch, leaving only a dead head, which rolled quietly to the ground. The blood mist that his body turned into looked very much like a blooming flower, and also like a gorgeous firework. Immortal world is back, I am invincible. Author, listen to the wind with your L. Chapter 50. Su Yu's hands were stained with blood. The feeling of blasting Su Yuan with fists was even better than when he killed the most powerful person in Immortal world. He waved his palm casually, and drops of blood spilled to the ground. There used to be no enmity between him and the Su family. Just because he had his immortal bones pulled out by his uncle's family and thrown to the Linzhou branch. These people think that he is a useless person who can be bullied at will. Especially during this period, the old man of the Tianhai Su family did not seek justice for Su Yu. This made the people from the side clan even more unscrupulous towards Su Yu, and they identified Uncle Su Yu's family as the future controllers of the Su family in Tianhai. By bullying Su Yu, they were showing their loyalty. Su Yu's life back then was worse than that of a beggar. Why did the Su family treat him like this? As for his so-called grandfather, he has never visited him since his immortal bones were extracted. Su Yu wrapped Su Yuan's dead head with a piece of black cloth, and then held it casually in his hand. He glanced at the white luxury car next to him with the door open, and waved his arm to Su Yao, you drive. Say it. He got into the back seat of the white car. Su Yao was able to move his body, and the acupuncture sensation in his brain temporarily disappeared, but the look of fear on his face never faded. He couldn't figure out Su Yu's cultivation level. Could it be said that Su Yu has entered the sky control realm? Su Yao swallowed hard. Could it be that Su Yu was a monk in the early stage of the sky control realm? His heart was racing and he forced himself to calm down. If he turns around and runs away now, he will definitely be killed. After taking 2 deep breaths, he got into the driver's seat of the white car. Start the car with trembling hands. There was an inexplicable pressure on Su Yao. He carefully stepped on the accelerator and drove to the Su family. Su Yu looked out the car window calmly. The hurried street scene made him feel like he was in another world. The 2,000 years spent in the immortal world seemed like a dream, so unreal. If he had not transmigrated to the immortal world back then, he would have definitely died at the hands of the Su family. Mom and Dad, why did you leave me alone? If you had always been by my side, my immortal bones would not have been pulled out. My infinite purple eyes will not be poached by them. Su Yu muttered to himself. There was no image of his parents in his mind at all. Su Yao didn't squint. He didn't dare to observe Su Yu through the rear-view mirror. He held his breath in his nose. With his current level of cultivation, it would be fine if he didn't breathe for an hour or two. More than 40 minutes later, Su Yao drove close to the manor of a branch of the Su family. This area is quiet, and the location is very good. Currently, white cloth strips are hanging outside the Su family manor. The whole manor was lifeless. Su Yao parked the car at the entrance of the manor. Su Yu held Su Yuan's head and walked out of the car. He stared at the lintel of the manor. This was once one of the places he least wanted to come back to. Su Yao opened the driver's door and tiptoed out of the car. He was afraid of annoying Su Yu. Today, the Su family branch will disappear in Linzhou. You will definitely not survive today. Let's go. Since we haven't had much contact before, I'll let you take a few more breaths of air. Su Yu said calmly. If he had no strength, would Su Yao let him go? Definitely not. As a member of the Su family's side branch, Su Yao will definitely help others. In Su Yu's eyes, the death of someone like Su Yao was not a pity. He stepped out and walked into the manor. The entire estate is very large. Su Yu frowned from time to time. He had too many bad memories here. Su Yao could only follow Su Yu. He now placed all his hopes on Mr. Meng. The two of them came to Su Cheng's morning hall one after another. The head of the family, Su Quan, was standing outside waiting for the good news about Su Yao and Su Yuan. Yang Xian, the son of the head of the Yinbu Linzhou branch, just arrived here more than 10 minutes ago. Last night at the snack street, Su Yu pierced his hands with chopsticks, and he couldn't swallow the breath. Today, it was his father, Yang Hai, who tried to lure Lin Zixuan away. After the conflict with Su Yu, Yang Hai concluded that Su Yu's cultivation was in the early stage of Sea transformation realm. Yang Xian learned that it was Su Yao from the middle stage of Sea transformation realm. After accompanying Su Yuan to capture Su Yu, he felt relieved. When Su Quan saw Su Yu, he was so angry that he almost bit his teeth into pieces. It was this damn bastard who killed his youngest son, Su Cheng. No one paid attention to why Su Yuan didn't show up. Those present thought it was Su Yao who captured Su Yu. Mr. Meng was sitting on a chair outside the morning hall. He squinted his eyes as if he was asleep. Su Yu, do you know your guilt? Su Quan roared angrily. If Su Wu, the eldest son of the Tianhai Su family, hadn't wanted to spare Su Yu's life, he would have definitely let Su Yu die without a burial place. People from the Su family's side who were present also spoke one after another. You bastard, you can't be ungrateful. Have you forgotten that it was us who raised you in the past? You are just a dog. What you said is wrong. This bastard is worse than a dog. At least a good dog won't hurt its owner. See what he did. Yes, this bastard must pay the price today. Noisy sounds echoed outside the morning hall. No one here took Su Yu seriously, except Su Yao, who was beside him and broke out in cold sweat. When he arrived outside the morning hall, he was about to speak, but found that his body could not move again and no sound could come out of his throat. He knew that Su Yu would definitely attack him again. Su Yu smiled. These people are still the same. This way he won't have to hold back when he kills people later. I brought a gift today to show my appreciation. You must accept it. I'm sure you guys will absolutely love it. Su Yu said calmly. Su Quan had a ferocious look on his face. Zizai, only now do you know how to be afraid. No matter how expensive a gift you want to give, our Su family will never let you go. After your value is drained by the young master, your death will come. Yang Xian mocked, boy, weren't you awesome last night? Why are you giving in now? You killed the son of the head of the Su Quan family. Do you think this is hatred that can be resolved by giving a gift? You are such a fool. Mr. Meng opened his eyes and said coldly, Su Yu, my young master wants you to kneel in front of Su Cheng's coffin and kowtow 10,000 times. You can start. Remember, every time you kowtow, you must make a sound, otherwise it will not count. Su Yu glanced at Mr. Meng coldly and said, the Su family members haven't seen the gift I sent yet. He raised his right arm holding Su Yuan's head. Others can only see the black cloth wrapped outside. Su Yu, give me a head and hope that Su Cheng will not be lonely on the road to hell. Finished. Su Yu threw his right hand. The black cloth was torn off. Su Yuan's dead-eyed head flew towards Su Cheng's coffin. In the different eyes of everyone, Su Yuan's head landed firmly in front of Su Cheng's coffin.